Let's practice sewing a plain seam. Grab your muslin, your magnetic pin wand, your fabric scissors, a pencil, and your see-through ruler. Now snip and rip a 4-inch panel of muslin. Now measure, mark, and cut 2 10-inch panels of muslin. Make sure that you have 2 4 by 10-inch panels of muslin. Now let's move to our machine. Find your 1/2 inch seam allowance guide on your machine bed. Your 1/2 inch seam allowance guide is 1/2 inch away from your needle at its center position. Insert part of your sample directly in front of your needle. Line up the raw edges of your sample with your 1/2 inch seam allowance guide. Slowly and carefully begin to sew. Don't forget to remove your pin. Now carefully backstitch. Continue sewing your seam. Be sure that the raw edges of your sample align with your 1/2 inch seam allowance guide on your machine bed. Continue sewing your seam. As you get to the end of your seam, carefully backstitch. Don't forget to lift the foot of your machine. Pull your sample to the left, cut your threads, and remove your sample from the machine. Now let's iron our sample. Be sure that your iron is on a cotton and steam setting. Place your sample on your ironing table, seam allowance facing up. Separate and smooth the seam allowance open with your fingers. Then press your seam allowance flat and open with the iron. Be sure to check your sample for any imperfections while ironing. Press and steam them out. Now turn your sample to the correct side. Check for any imperfections. Continue to press and steam your sample. And now you've practiced and sewn a beautiful plain seam.